Hey guys, Sam here from Atomic Marketing. Today I'm going to show you a different variety of high converting hero sections for lead gen landing pages. These are proven. I've used them for over 10 years and I've designed over 500 of them in this time. So I've got a pretty good idea of what works. So let's dive in and hopefully you can learn something new from this. So just as a bit of social proof, you can see inside my Unbounce account, we have 662 active landing pages, just so you know that 500 plus isn't a number I've just conjured up for YouTube. This is stuff that I do literally every day. Okay, so let's dive into the anatomy of the hero, or also known as the above the fold section. There are a few core elements that are really important to include on every single hero. So you can see the first one is the landing page nav. Now, I know you're probably thinking a lot of the landing pages don't technically have navs, but I deem a navigation bar to be anything that has a logo or CTA in it. And why it's important to have it, it's just something that people find conventional to a website. That's why we have a nav. I don't include loads of links in there to other pages like a website, but for landing pages specifically, I like to have a traditional looking nav. The second thing is the headline. This is the most important thing. It tells users what the page is about. And bear in mind, I'm not going to do a copywriting masterclass in this. This is solely about the anatomy of the hero section and what you need to be using inside the hero for it to be converting at a good rate. The third is the subheading. Fourth thing here is the hero visual or the image. Number 5 is the CTA button. 6, you can also include a bit of eyebrow text. I haven't labeled it on here, but the eyebrow text is basically text above the headline that kind of calls out the audience that you're looking to target, e.g. RV owners of state name, as an example. But you can see this number 7 here are the key benefit points. So the key reasons or value propositions about why people should work with you. Number 8 is a testimonial or some form of social proof. Number 9, we've got the aggregated star ratings or reviews. And then down at the bottom, you can see the trust logos, which are like as featured in or as seen in. These could be accreditation logos. It really depends on the niche. But that as a whole is kind of everything that is important to include in the hero section. And here's a look at it on what it looks like on desktop. Again, we have the star rating, the headline, subheading, the key benefits, the CTA button, the hero image, testimonial, logos, or as featured in logos, whatever you want to call them. And that's what a high converting hero has. This is everything presented on the mobile view as well, which I'll be interchanging both on desktop and on mobile so that you understand what it looks like on both. And as we go into this presentation, I want you to know that, I'm not presenting fluff, no theories. This is just what is working for ourselves at Atomic Marketing. We build the pages, we run the traffic, we show the data, no filters, no fluff, just the results. So I will be showing you screenshots throughout just to show you that we are getting very good conversion rates from the designs that we are doing. And all the examples in this particular presentation are from our own client pages that we designed and we manage their ads for. Hey, real quick one. We're building something that I think you will love. It's a premium library of high converting landing page templates. So not just nice looking designs, but pages tested and proven on real client campaigns. They're ready to customize, built with the same structure, copy, and psychology that we use to drive results for our paying clients. If you want a shortcut to launching better performing pages without starting from scratch, check out the link in the description. Spots will be limited when we launch, so get on the list now and see you in there. So let's dive into all the specific elements. And what I'm really hoping for this whole presentation to be is a complete masterclass and ideally the best resource on the internet to do with hero section design. I really wanted to go into a lot of depth so that you can truly understand why you have all the different elements, what the purpose of them are, and so that you are able to take this information and apply it to your own design processes. So let's dive into the landing page nav bar. So even though most high converting landing pages don't use the traditional full site navs, your navigation bar will still play a key role in setting expectations, building trust, and guiding action. What do our nav bars include in our own designs? The business logo, of course, reinforces the branding and reassures the visitor they're in the right place. It's also conventional for every website to have a logo, ideally in the top left. And then for landing pages, a primary CTA. We add that usually in the top right, or this could be a phone number, it could be a CTA button of whatever your CTA is. And then what we also like to do is include some social proof up in the nav if there is room. So just so you can see here, rated 4.8 out of 5, and then we've got the two icons from Google and Facebook. And here are a bunch of different landing page nav bar examples. So you can see on desktop, they look pretty conventional to a website. And when you do see the navigation links on these particular examples, or the 1 second down here, these are just section links to link people through to different parts of the page. But you can see from the different designs that we have here, this is the typical sort of design that we follow. It's very conventional. Logo top left, CTA or phone number top right. We then have some social proof next to the number, and then links if we want to include section links within the page. Next up, we have the headline. And the purpose of the headline is, it really is the most important thing on the landing page, because it tells users what the page is about. It's designed to grab attention and clearly communicate what the offer is in a way that feels relevant, specific, and desirable. Now, these headlines will depend on if you're running Facebook traffic, Google Ads traffic. In our experience, we run mostly Google Ads campaigns, so our headlines aren't always the most, I'd say, creative as such, but they include the keyword. They add a single value proposition of what we want to get across, and that usually does the job pretty well for us. So in this example, you can see premium RV warranties at wholesale prices. Pretty easy to understand and very relevant for the traffic that are coming from our Google Ads traffic. So a few quick tips: focus on what the visitor gets, not necessarily always what you do. If you can tie that both in together, then perfect. And remember, clarity beats cleverness. Don't be afraid of being direct, especially in high intent campaigns such as Google Ads. Here are a few other headline examples. So on this particular one, we have an auto locksmith. Fast, reliable, and affordable auto locksmith services available 24/7. Pretty obvious is what it is, right? And then we have van security, van lock installation that secures your van, your tools, and protects your livelihood. And you can see on both of these two different examples, we've got a conversion rate of 22.38%. On the van security page, we've got just shy of 20% conversion rate running Google Ads traffic to these pages. Now, it's not just the headline that contributes to these conversion rates, but it is the whole page and the rest of the content that we have. But in this particular presentation, we're focusing specifically on the hero section, which really is the most important part of any landing page. Next up, we have the subheading. And the purpose of this is to amplify the core promise made in the headline by layering on emotional value, specificity, or desirability. Its job is to give the visitor a compelling reason to keep reading or take action. So in this case, you can see protect your RV and your wallet with flexible, affordable warranties that keep you on the road worry-free. So we touch on a few different points there. Key tips: expand the main benefit or transformation hinted in the headline, or use emotional cues, vivid phrasing, or specific outcomes to paint a more complete picture for your users. Next up, we have the hero image or the visual. And the purpose of this is that it should immediately signal relevance and evoke the outcome your audience wants. It sets an emotional tone, gives the visitor a reason to care before they read a word of copy. And if you're using Google Ads as an example, it should really tell people exactly what the page is about straight away within the first 3 seconds. If it doesn't complement the headline, then you need to be looking to rethink the type of imagery that you're using. And ideally not stock. I know this is, funny enough, this is stock, but ideally you want to be using an image that feels authentic to the company that you're advertising. So tips: choose a visual that captures the end result, emotional benefit, or aspirational lifestyle. Show a transformation, so a before and after. They typically work great if it's applicable for the service. And again, avoid generic stock photos. So don't copy what I've done, although this does convert really well. I think around 22% of this page converts. Okay, I want to go on to another thing which I see loads of people doing, and it's what I call the background image trap. So you can see from this desktop design and the mobile design here, we've got an image that we use or present on the page, specifically on the right-hand side of the page on desktop, and on mobile, you can see it appears right below the navigation. What I often see is some people will just apply a image at the background, add an opacity over the top. It looks okay on desktop, like you can kind of make out what it's about. But then when you go to mobile, here's an example, you can see it just blows up and you actually completely lose all reference to what the visual is. So you can see in this particular example, all we've done is zoom in on a section of the RV door. So it kind of renders the hero visual absolutely useless. Like, I'm sure you'd agree, you can't really tell what's going on with the hero image here. So you're actually better off just making it completely black or a dark color. And what sucks about this is that you do give up the opportunity to use a hero image. So where possible, always on mobile, try and find a way to actually include a image that isn't compromised by the background image trap. Okay, so next up on the list, we have the call to action, or the CTA. The purpose of that is to drive first commitment. It gives direction and momentum, encouraging the user to take the next step. Now, people aren't just going to come to the page, see the button, be like, oh yeah, I'm going to click that. No, like, what it is designed to do is tell people of like what is the action, and give them some kind of expectation of what's going to happen. So if it was like book a discovery call, get an online quote, calculate your price, at least gives them now the context of, okay, I understand where they're wanting me to go within the page. So quick few tips: use action-orientated, benefit-driven language. Avoid generic labels like submit or learn more, contact us today. It's doesn't really benefit the user. And frame the CTA in terms of what the user wants, not what you want them to do. So in this example, you can see claim your savings now. Very benefit rich. And the button should visually stand out with a high contrast color, ideally. Kind of brand it and make it look so it doesn't blend into the background of the page. Now, I'm going to go on to the call to action functionality. There are a few different things that you can do with the CTA. So with a button, it can scroll to a form within the landing page that you have. So an on-page form. So it might scroll down to the bottom where you have your form, or it could open up a pop-up form, or the button redirects to a form on a separate page. I actually quite like doing that, as for me, it's the first micro step in taking action. And then you can actually use that to track and then optimize actions based on people making the micro conversion. But I digress. Or what you can do is have a form displayed inline in the hero page section, or a click to call button on mobile CTA. So I'm going to show you examples of all of these in a moment, just to show you all the different ways that we actually set up the CTA rather than just including a button and kind of leaving you hanging. But there are a few other less conventional ways that you can set up your CTA as well. You can have a multi-step form triggered by a CTA. So if you've watched any of my other videos, we use a multi-step form builder called Hayflow, and you can have a button click up. You can actually build the entire form within Hayflow, embed it on the page, and so they click an answer and then takes them through the different steps. It's a very creative way of doing it, and it does work pretty well, actually. Or you can have another CTA which opens up a live chat or a chatbot flow. Not something I personally use very often, or very rarely, in fact. But these are sort of the different options that you have on how your CTA functions. And to give you some examples of strong CTA buttons tailored to the different offer types, you have a free quote or estimate, and then the text will be something like, get my free estimate. or an eligibility-based offer, see if I qualify, see if you qualify, something like that. If it's a design consultation, book my free design session. If it's a price guide or an info pack, send me the price guide or reveal the prices to me. You can be very creative with this. And this is the fun thing with landing page design and offer testing. You can play around with these things, have fun with it. Or if it's a service booking, book my call or check availability. It really depends completely on the niche, and do your research, and you'll be able to figure out what kind of button text is going to do the job best. Okay, let's go on to the eyebrow text. So the purpose of the eyebrow text is to act as a personalization anchor, a small but powerful line that helps the visitor feel this is for me. It appears just above the headline and provides immediate context. So in this example, you can see attention van owners of West Yorkshire. So we're calling out the type of people that we want and where they're based. And this is great, especially in Google Ads campaigns where you often want to put your keyword into the main headline. So like van lock installation, West Yorkshire, that's a big mouthful to take up in our headline. So what better way to use it than in our eyebrow text? And same applies for other Google Ads campaigns. If you have many like location-based keywords that you're using, I often now like to use the location or the keyword in the eyebrow text, just so it allows me a bit more space and creativity for the actual headline on the page. So a quick few tips on this. You want to make sure you're calling out who it's for, where the service is offered, especially if you are running Google Ads, and keep it short, subtle, and specific. This isn't the place where we're trying to persuade people to buy at this stage. We're just calling out who the visitors are so that they're like, oh, yes, that's me. Okay, next up, we've got the key benefit points. Now, the purpose of these are to keep them short, punchy. We don't want huge paragraphs of text that completely take up the whole hero section. And these act as reinforcements for the offer. So giving people two to four compelling reasons. Actually, not two. You want three or more. Two looks weird. Yeah, so 3 or more compelling reasons to stay and take action. Designed to be scannable at a glance, making the value of your service feel obvious fast. So if we look at the example here, you can see our key benefit points are save on costly repairs, wholesale prices, and all RV types covered. And do your research on what people care about most, and then tailor these into your key benefit points. And the key thing with these is making or designing them in a way which doesn't just look like a bunch of text that's hard to read and hard to figure out what the value proposition is. It really is all in the design. So in terms of tips, keep each point 1 to 2 lines only. Avoid wrapping or long explanation, so you don't want a whole paragraph. Use format of an icon or a benefit tick to draw the eye and visual rhythm. And focus on outcomes or emotional wins or unique advantages. Like make it different to what other people are focusing on. Next up, we have the testimonial. And the purpose of this is to provide an immediate injection of trust into the page. It answers the silent question that every visitor has. Do other people like me trust this? You build credibility before the user even scrolls. And what I like to do personally is on desktop design anyway, is kind of attach it to the hero visual to make it part of the hero images or hero visual story. Especially if it is something like a transformation photo, you can ideally pick the testimonial from that specific transformation. So choose a testimonial that supports the specific promise or outcome. Don't just pick a random one. Pick one that really feels like it has synergy with the rest of the content in the hero. Use a short pull quote, 1 to 2 lines max or 3 lines tops, and pair it with a real name and photo or location as well, like a project location, especially if you're running Google Ads, will go a long way. Okay, a few more tips with this. Ideally, the quote should highlight a specific transformational benefit, should focus on the ease or the process or positive surprise that they may have encountered from using the particular service, a feeling of relief, confidence, satisfaction. Again, what I'm really trying to drive home here is Focus on the key thing that your prospects care about and make the testimonial not just like, oh, great service, would recommend. Like, focus on the key thing that people care about. And a few kind of design tips for you guys: bold or highlight one of the phrases specifically within the quote for visual impact. So you can see here, their price beat the dealer's cost by a mile. I've bolded it. It shows up. It's the bit I want people to read. I will place star icons or a star rating nearby for added proof layering. Or in this case, you can see I've added a Google review logo in the bottom right corner, just so that people can understand the source of the review, and adds additional kind of social proof context. Next up, we have the star rating or review count. Now, the purpose of this is to quickly build trust through social proof in the form of aggregated review counts. A few quick tips: use rating imagery native to the review platform. So if it's Google stars, use the stars from Google. If it's Trustpilot, use the Trustpilot stars. Don't pick some clip art, ugly looking 5-star yellow design abomination. It looks weird. It doesn't look native to the platform. I see that mistake all the time. So don't do that. Pick the review stars from the platform itself. It will look way better. Text should be smaller than the hero paragraph copy size, and use it either above the headline or below the CTA, and it just helps really frame the content nicely. And I'm now going to show you some examples on the different ways that we do this. Just so, like, the advice I'm really trying to share with you in this presentation isn't just, I'll put like review count in the hero section. I want to show you how we do it and what it looks like, how best to do it, how it looks native, and how it looks actually done to a high level where people can trust it. So here are a few different ways, and each one of these are kind of like varying in, I suppose, design difficulty, but maybe not. From the far left, you can see the star rating is literally just the stars rated 5 out of 5 by customers. That's a pretty basic one. Doesn't really tell you too much. I feel it doesn't actually add that much value. But then as we move on to the source, stars, rating, and total, you can see here we've got the Google icon, we've got the star rating, and then we've got the actual rating, rated 4.9, and then we've got 102 Google reviews. So now you can see how much more effective that looks compared to just adding stars and then putting rated 5 out of 5 by customers. Then on this last one here on the far right, you can see stars, rating, total, and avatars. And get inspiration from other websites out there. So e-com websites do this really well. So here you can see we've got the stars, we've got 4.9 based on 112 reviews. And then we've added some avatars of the customers from Google or Facebook, wherever you want to grab them from. And for me, I really like the use of the avatars. I feel it adds like an additional face into the hero, adds it a bit, makes it a bit more personable. And I just feel it looks really effective. But we've used all of these before, and they all work really well. But I would lean towards the middle one and the one on the far right, where possible, if you can actually showcase the review count, especially if you've got a high review count, that's going to work in your favor. Next up, or rather the next part of this presentation, I'm going into the specific hero design layouts and hierarchy. Now we're actually going into the different ways that I design them for our clients. And in terms of desktop, it's going to be a little bit different to how we design on mobile, and I will cover both. So on desktop, there is left aligned copy, right side visual, like you've seen so far. There's left aligned copy over background visual and right aligned form. So that's including the form in the hero section itself. There's centered copy over a background visual. And then there's centered copy, left aligned visual, and right aligned form. These will all make a lot more sense in the next few slides. Here are some examples of different mobile design layouts and hierarchy. So on the far left here, you can see we've got the eyebrow text, we've got the center aligned headline, center aligned subheading, we've got a CTA button, we've got a secondary CTA, we've got our review count, and then we've got the key benefits. On the next one along for the glazing company, you can see we've got traditional navigation. We've got some key benefits, which I use as kind of below the nav, the hero image, the headline, the key benefits, the aggregated review count, and then the form. Then along here, as we go into the next example, we've got our nav, the hero image, which is actually made up of two different images in one, just to showcase the different examples of the service, which is Cherry Picker, if you've ever heard of that. Maybe you're in the UK. In the US, I think it's called something different. But same thing, we've got our calling out people in our eyebrow text, or rather calling out our coverage area in this particular example. And then we've got a headline, subheading, CTA, review count, key benefits. And so you can see like they all follow a pretty similar style, and all of these work well, like whether you put the image above, below, background, or, I don't personally really like using a background image unless it's quite clear what it is. But these are all examples and design layouts that you can take and use in your own landing page designs. Here are some more. So you can see left aligned ones where we got the form in the mobile hero section. We include a image of a solicitor in this example here, but all of them really do follow a very similar layout. And there's no right or wrong way to do it. It's just whatever you find is clear and clearly explains the value proposition to the visitors of the website. Now, I'm going to show you a few different ones on desktop, as I find desktop a little bit trickier to design in terms of layouts and stuff, because on mobile, they, like you kind of saw before, they all kind of follow a very set layout going down in one single column, whereas on desktop, you've got to figure out a few more elements. This is number one that I'm showing here. It's called the classic split. It's left aligned copy, right side visual. This is probably my favorite design layout right now that I'm using, just because I find it very versatile and highly scannable. It's unbelievably clear, and it is perfect for service-based businesses or service-based pages where the visual reinforces the offer or what you're kind of saying in the headline text. So like kitchen remodeling or landscaping. And it works really great when you have a strong hero image or a video that deserves like a good amount of real estate on that page. And you want to keep the message clear and structured. So that is what I find to be one of the most effective landing page heroes you can use right now. Number two is the form first overlay. This is where there is left aligned copy over a background visual and then a right aligned form. When should you use this? Google Ads and other high intent traffic, ideally where users already know what they want and are ready to act. Ideally when you need a form in the hero, but still want the visual to support the message in a subtle way. So in this example here, it's for a roofing client. You can see it's clearly someone on top of a roof. You can see the roof tiles, but in this example, it's, we're not trying to showcase a roof transformation as such. We just want people to subtly know, yes, that's about roofing, if that makes sense. Number three is the high intent overlay. So that is left aligned copy and image and right aligned form. When to use it: urgent or local services where a fast quote is expected, so locksmith or emergency repairs, or when you want to show the service visuals clearly while also placing the form above the fold. So this is a really nice example where we can include everything that we want in the hero section on desktop design, like the headline. We've got the hero image right below the headline, and it doesn't look too like crowded or jumbled up. It still looks very clear, very strong, and it's, it showcases what the page is about very, very well. And it's a good option for desktop first designs with a clean, symmetrical balance of trust, action, and proof, all in the above the fold or hero section. This one I call the center stage, where it's centered copy over a background visual. When should you use it? Where offers and copy do the heavy lifting, and where full width images sets the tone or context. It's also great for brand forward pages such as solar finance, premium home services, especially when you want to convey professionalism and trust at a glance. I think the background image does look really nice. My only kind of personal concern with it is sometimes it's not always easy to make it clear what the image is. But in this example, where you can show like the roof with panels on, a bit of the sky, you can read the text so it doesn't hurt the readability or the contrast ratio of the page. And it just works well, but be careful with it. I find it is one of the harder design heroes to use because you're very much at the mercy of the image itself, if that makes sense. But yeah, it is also ideal when the visual isn't the hero of the page, but still adds credibility or tone. This one here, the Power Trio, another big favorite of mine right now. And it's great because you can include everything that you want on the page. It's centered copy, left visual, right form. When should you use it? When you want to include a lot of elements in the hero without it feeling cluttered. It's great for showcasing before and after visuals, premium service visuals, and driving form submissions from the get-go. It's ideal for lead gen where visuals play a major role in the storytelling, like flooring, window or door upgrades, or kitchens. Really, like any before and after based campaign, I'll be pretty much using this design every single time. So you can see here, like we actually use two different images of the same project right next to the form, but that smaller one could be a before, the bigger one could be an after. You could use like a little compilation or collage. You can be very creative with it. And this layout just has worked really well for us for a very long time. Okay, and a question I get asked a lot is form in the hero versus CTA button. When to use each one? So when should you use a CTA button, or when should you add the form in the hero? Okay, so here's my answer. When to include the form in the hero? When the action is straightforward, e.g. get a quote, book a consult, check availability. There's no need to explain the offer further before someone can act. These are typically for much simpler services, whereas, get a quick quote, get a call out or a repair, that sort of thing, plumbing, locksmiths. You kind of get the idea. And when it is like high intent traffic from Google as well, visitors from Google Ads who already are problem aware, they want the service, they're here to take action, they're not here to browse and read everything that you've got to say about yourself, and it just removes the extra steps. Or if the form is short or multi-step, if it's just two to four form fields or begins with a qualifying question, it won't overwhelm the hero. So use a multi-step logic form to keep it clean while gathering enough info. So what we don't want to do is just put a big long form in the hero design where it then overlaps outside of the hero. If you can break it up into a multi-step like we had in this particular example here, where you can see we asked 4 qualification step questions, and then it just goes through to the second step, which is essentially a duplicate of this page, but asks for their contact details. And lastly, when to use the form in the hero, if you want the page to feel actionable. A form in the hero instantly tells the users, this is where I get started, or this is the action we want you to take. Great for services that solve urgent problems. Like I said, locksmith, plumber, roofer. It just works really well and is very conventional for these types of services as well. And here's a quick decision grid to help you figure it out. I mean, again, there's no right answer for this. I'm just showing what we tend to do and just giving you a bit of a practical guide to navigate this. And always test it, but you can use this as a starting point when deciding whether to use a hero form or just a CTA button. So high intent, ready to act traffic, form in the hero. Low intent, research phase visitors, use the CTA button. Simple service with a short form, maybe you can use both. Complex or multi-field form, you might want to use a CTA button. Or offer needs trust, education first, use a CTA button. If it's a very high-end type of project that requires people to read a lot of information before they're ready to trust and submit their contact details, then don't put a form in the hero, because they're not just going to read a headline subheading and then enter their details. Think logically about it. And then lastly is the visual first design or emotional impact. Use a CTA button because we want to use the hero section to our advantage. And as we're nearing the end of this presentation, final takeaways and recap. You've got one shot to make the right first impression, so don't waste it. A great hero section is clear, relevant, action-driven, and built around how your audience thinks, not what you want to say. So remember, clarity over cleverness. Align your layout with the traffic intent and offer complexity. Prioritize mobile. Test the full scroll, not just how it looks. Get on your phone and actually test it. Give it to your friends, family, get them to test it as well. Keep your CTA focused, obvious, and friction-free. And trust signals and visuals aren't nice to have. They're essential. They build trust. They make people, actually want to work with you because they can see other people are having success working with you as well. Okay, so with that, we have wrapped up this, I suppose, a masterclass, given the level of depth that we've gone into on this particular hero section layout presentation. I hope you have found the information interesting and you have some design ideas that you can take and apply into your own campaigns. And if you have enjoyed this video, found some value from it, then please consider liking and subscribing to my channel. I'll be posting a lot more content in the upcoming weeks and sharing a lot more detailed analysis and breakdowns of landing pages, Google Ads strategies, lead gen strategies that you can apply and have success with in your own campaigns. Anyway, thank you for your time. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one. Take care.